What's going on, everybody? Welcome inside fitnessinformant.com, Fitness Informant's YouTube channel. I'm FI founder and CEO Ryan Buckett. I want to thank you for stopping by. Check out 100% honest, no bullshit review of Apollo's Hegemony's Blitzkrieg pre-workout. This is a 30-serving pre-workout currently available over in the EU, UK, not here in the States. However, that could change, so we want to get ahead of the curve and talk to you today about this pre-workout on basically 4 different categories, because Valley, we don't know what it's going to be priced at. But first, we're going to talk about the ingredient profile. Second, we're going to talk about the effectiveness. Third, we're going to talk about the flavor. Fourth, mixability, and show you a video, and that'll wrap it up for our review. So let's hop into it. 1 scoop is 12 grams. It contains 4 grams of L-citrulline. So 4 grams of L-citrulline is actually the clinically dosed L-citrulline. That's 3 to 5 grams of citrulline. It helps improve and enhance blood flow. It pushes the blood into the muscles to provide a pump. The next ingredient is 2.5 grams of betaine anhydrous. Betaine, what this is actually helps with strength output and power output. 2.5 is on the high end of this. You want anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5 grams. We're getting at the high end of betaine anhydrous. The next ingredient is beta-alanine at 1.6 grams. 3.2 grams is really the clinical dosage, so you'd want almost double servings of this for beta-alanine to get to 3.2, but then you want to be careful based on some of the other stuff you have in this product. A double serving of this might not be beneficial for you. So the underdosing of beta-alanine here actually is a cause for a little bit of concern, because I'd at least like them to give us 3 grams of beta-alanine, because we really, as I talk to you here in a second, can't double scoop this based on the caffeine levels and the DMHA levels that are in this. The next ingredient is choline bitartrate at 750 milligrams. This is close. 750 milligrams to a gram is really acceptable. Choline is a cognitive enhancing ingredient that's going to help with mental clarity and improve focus, so we're okay with this. I'd like to see it at a gram, but 750 is acceptable. Agmatine sulfate is used next at 500 milligrams. This is a precursor to nitric oxide in the body, and it also inhibits your pain receptors, so allowing you to go ahead and do a couple more reps without having to go to failure. You want to see this at a gram, though. Agmatine sulfate is going to help with the pump. 500 milligrams is going to be lackluster-ish. You want at least a gram of this. Some companies now are putting anywhere up to 2 grams of agmatine sulfate due to actually new research that shows it actually can help improve mental clarity as well. Alcar is next, which is the form of carnitine at 350 milligrams. Alcar is probably one of the more preferred versions of carnitine. Carnitine, what that does is it transports fatty lipids in the body to be burned off as fuel or energy. Not a lot saying that it's going to help with fat loss per se, but it can help with energy production. You really want this higher too. So carnitine is typically dosed between 1,500 and 3,000 milligrams. We are at 350 milligrams here. So far, you know, you have beta-alanine, you have agmatine sulfate, and Alcar a little bit on the lower side in terms of dosages where you'd want them. Double scoop is going to be hard to come by based on this next ingredient, caffeine anhydrous, at 290 milligrams. 290 milligrams is sufficient for caffeine. That's right below 300. You don't want to go super crazy high. But if you double scoop this, now you're talking about 580 milligrams of caffeine, which is absolutely ridiculous. So you don't want to double scoop this. So a single scoop is going to prevent you from being underdosed on key ingredients like beta-alanine, agmatine sulfate, and so far Alcar. The next ingredient is Pansax ginseng extract at 200 milligrams, which is known. It's a Chinese medicine, and it helps with cognitive functions. Anywhere between 200 and 400 milligrams per day is sufficient. So we're on the low end. I'd like to see 400 milligrams be used per day to get the most benefit, because I'm a huge proponent of focus when it comes to pre-workouts. 200 milligrams, I guess, will be acceptable. The next ingredient is L-theanine, 98% at 100 milligrams. So technically, you're getting 98 milligrams of theanine. Theanine is going to help relax you. It's a mood enhancer. It's going to help you focus and get shit done in the gym. 100 milligrams at 98%, pretty sufficient. 100 to 125 is typically where we see this. Astragalus root extract at 100 milligrams is next. Really, this is known for some more of its anti-inflammatory properties. It actually helps flush the kidneys. In terms of what it's doing here in a pre-workout, you know, there's different links out there that say it could potentially help with this and that. I'm not sold on it. I don't necessarily need to have this in here at 100 milligrams, but it doesn't hurt to have it. Next, you have DMHA. It's 2-amino-6. At 75 milligrams. This is going to be lower than optimal dosage. You want at least 140, 150 milligrams of DMHA to go along with your caffeine anhydrous, because it's not DMAA. DMAA at 75 was acceptable. DMHA needs to be about 2x of that, which would be double. So you're actually getting less DMHA than you'd want if you're looking for a DMHA product. So if you're out there searching DMHA-based pre-workout, this will pop up, but it's not going to have the dosage that you want. Then you have Nargen at 25 milligrams. We don't really spend a whole lot of time on this ingredient because there's not a huge benefit towards it in a pre-workout. It's nice to see. It's just not a must-have. Then you have Piperine at 5 milligrams. This is going to go ahead and help absorption and ingredient uptake. Yohimbine is used at 2.5 milligrams. It's a stimulant that helps burn fat. It's actually going to help produce energy. 2.5 milligrams is pretty much the highest dosage you want to go. I've seen as high as 4, but it gets kind of crazy with certain people because some people don't really take the yohimbine that well. And then the last ingredient is huperzine A at 200 micrograms. That's actually a really good dosage of huperzine A. You typically see this between 100 micrograms and 200, 200 being on the high end. This is a cognitive enhancing ingredient. So overall, ingredient profile, I'm torn because there are some ingredients on here that are dosed correctly and there are some that are dosed at half. But you can't take 2 scoops because the caffeine at 580 could kill you. So really, I think that the company, if they're going to come to the States, they can definitely release this, and people are going to buy it and they're going to use it. I'm not going to be one of them because I don't like the fact that I need 2 scoops to get agmatine and beta-alanine where it needs to be. I need 2 scoops to get actual optimal levels of DMHA per what I'm used to as a consumer. And I can't do that because 580 on caffeine is going to kill me. And then also the 5 milligrams of yohimbine is going to be dangerous. So at the end of the day, it's not a terrible ingredient profile. It just has room for improvement. And I think you go through and you say, why am I adding this ingredient? Is this an ingredient necessary? Take that out, put that cost, reinvest that cost in giving us clinical dosages of beta-alanine. Give us 3 grams of beta-alanine. It doesn't have to be 3, 2. Just up it up. In terms of effectiveness, this is where we were, right? Like we wanted to use 2, but we couldn't. So 1 scoop on some things was okay. Like the pump was energy was you know, I mean, 300 milligrams of caffeine is enough to get you going, but that DMHA would prolong the energy because we had less than sufficient DMHA. We didn't have the best in the world. Now, is this the worst pre-workout on the planet? Absolutely not. Not even close. It's not close to the best, but it's absolutely not close to the worst pre-workout out there. And really it kind of comes down to, because really the optimal levels and where we need to be to perform optimally as a human being on dosages that have been studied and backed are in between 1 and 2 scoops, but you have to be careful because there are other ingredients holding you back. I would say energy was okay, pump was okay, strength was fine. I think that you have your betaine at 2,500 milligrams was good. You know, your endurance was okay. I mean, I would say that this was like a 60-65% pre-workout in terms of like good to go, you know. In terms of taste, this is sour apple. It tastes just like sour apple, so there's no issue. If you like sour apple, you're going to like this. I'm not the biggest fan of sour apple in the world, but it really definitely tastes like it. So I mean, in terms of calling it sour apple, Apollo's hit it on the head. It is sour apple, and it tastes just like it. Again, if you're into that, that's your thing. Me, I don't know if I really love sour apple per se, but I don't hate it. Mixability, we're going to show you a mixability video here on this. There is 12 grams per scoop, and this is out of a little baggie here that we kept to the side. It mixes up okay. There are plenty of ingredients in here that are not soluble in water, so you're going to see, you potentially might see some ingredients and particles floating on top of the water and maybe swarming in the water as you're looking at the glass here. The camera doesn't pick up all of it, but you can see at the end when you put the glass down, there are some of those particles that settle to the bottom of the glass. So you are going to have that happen in your shaker cup as well. You don't need to use a lot of water with this. You're going to go ahead and chug it down. You may have to do a little quick rinse after the fact, but at the end of the day, it's a pre-workout, people. Don't lose your shit over mixability. And again, value we can't talk about because we don't know what it's going to be here in the States. Again, my overall feedback on this, it's not a terrible pre-workout, and I just know that there's some work that needs to be done to this pre-workout to be appealing to me. Somebody who's educated that knows pre-workouts and knows ingredients. I need more certain ingredients. I can use less of other ingredients. I don't need to, I mean, if this is going to be a pre-workout and where you want me to use 2 servings, then you're going to need to up it from 30 to 40 here in the States, because if it goes from 30 servings to 15 servings, you're going to have people not buy it because of that, because it's going to be too expensive. And even on this, on what you guys have it at now, or what this is at now, I can't take 2 servings because it could literally explode my heart with that much caffeine in yohimbine. So at the end of the day, some work to do. There is some promise. They have some ingredients that are utilized and used well. DMHA is cool to see, but used at the appropriate amount is my feedback. At the end of the day, you know, I appreciate them sending me this product. I'm excited to see them come to the States because they have a really good portfolio of products, some commodities which we could use here in the States. So best of luck to them. Hopefully we see them come here soon. Make sure you click below on the link to read the in-depth written review of this. Subscribe to our social media channels. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the red subscribe now button here below. We have a podcast. It's called Be Informed, Live Fit. Go ahead and subscribe to that on iTunes, Spotify, here on YouTube, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, and more. And for this written review, more Apollo's reviews, pre-workout reviews, deals, rankings, fitness programs, nutrition advice, and more, check out us online, fitnessinformant.com.